lost all season. That's almost unheard of for an expansion team. Curitan controls the tap to Rex Chapman, and here we go from Madison Square Garden. Michael Holton, Curitan, and Tripucka. But here comes Mark Jackson. Johnny Newman. The Knicks love those three-pointers, and we get a loose ball foul.
They are not afraid to take that three-pointer anytime or any place on the floor. At the other end, defensively, they really reacted well. That time, Tripucka got Ewing off his feet, tried to make a pass down the paint. Defensively, the Knicks fell into the middle, reacted very well. Rex
Chapman fires and can hit, and Patrick Ewing comes away. No foul on that first series. It just went out of bounds. Johnny Newman. Good fight on the boards, and here comes Rex. Set up Kelly.
Good job that time. You saw the influence of Patrick Ewing. You cannot take the ball all the way. Chapman played it smartly and found the open Kelly Tripucka.
And you saw the Knicks run after the made basket, and Mark Jackson got the bucket.
There are teams that run in transition, then there are teams that run in transition and after the made baskets, which is exactly what the Knicks like to do.
Tied at 2, 1 minute gone by. Rambis will try the rainbow, and Trent Tucker's got it. Jackson and Ewing worked so well together. But Rambis knocked it away. It'll still be New York ball.
Nice reaction that time by Rambis. He saw Jackson slice into the hoop, reached out and blocked the shot. Almost Jackson half-hearted that one up, Gary, that time, and Kurt was there and reacted well.
Patrick Ewing working against Curitan. He has improved his offensive game immeasurably since coming to the NBA.
That's exactly the point I was going to make. It's so obvious. It's really smooth. He's very, very smooth when he gets that ball.
They'll call the push on Mark Jackson. St. John's product doesn't care for the call, but that's his first foul and the first on the team.
I don't think there was any question about that. Out right in the middle of the floor, right in front of one of the referees. Just push Michael Holton.
Placing Charles Oakley.
Well, the Knicks wasted no time making a change. Charles Oakley, I think, got a little dinged up. And Sidney Green is in the ballgame, number 44, taking his place off the turnover. Here's Johnny Newman. They're going to give him the basket and continuation.
That transition basket by Newman started because Tucker played defense with his feet and knocks the ball loose. Newman doesn't have this situation if it's not for Tucker's quick feet and quick hands defensively.
Johnny Newman has been such an important piece to the puzzle for the Knicks. They didn't have a small forward coming into the season and had to be he or Kenny Walker, and here comes the press. Hornets attack the press, and Curitan puts it in.
Rambis that time realized Ewing tried to make the interception in midcourt. Ewing was behind him. He took it all the way, as you mentioned. And Curitan, who's played very well on the boards here recently. Nice follow-up.
The Knicks have a 7-4 lead, 9:45 to go first period. Patrick in much too deep for the Hornets' cause.
Read the Charlotte defense and then found the open man.
Can't afford turnovers. Jackson to Newman. Last time the Hornets were here, they turned it over 23 times. It's 11-4 Knicks, and they've turned it over in the early going.
Shots are hard to come by anyway against this Knicks defense.
Another turnover off the pressure. Sidney Green.
Look for a timeout, Gary.
In the early going, using their pressure to take advantage of the Hornets. Now, what do the Hornets do against this trapping defense?
Well, you have to be alert, first of all, and come back and meet all the passes. You can't stand still and wait for the ball to get to you, Gary. You have to meet the ball.
Knicks are already set up in a trapping defense before the Hornets even get to midcourt. But Tripucka beat it down, and Dick Carter did a nice job in the huddle.
That time the Knicks defense got strung out almost as much as they would have liked to string out the Charlotte offense.
Wouldn't you think Coach Carter might have said something about going over the top?
I don't think there's any question.
Knicks turn it over this time.
You use your timeout right there to do things like that, Gary, to make adjustments.
Sidney Green tried to force the turnover. Still going to be Charlotte ball.
When the Knicks bring Green and Kenny Walker off the bench, Green is an alert, quick, active player, as is Kenny Walker. They really created up-tempo with that pressure defense.
They may have let Ewing get away with something, but Ewing's going to the basket, got fouled, and has a three-point play opportunity, and I'm not sure he didn't get Rambis's wrist when he took the ball away.
Well, that goes back to what we said in the open of the show tonight. The Knicks love to press here at home because they use the sideline. They get away with things that many people feel they don't when they're on the road, because at home they're very, very, or extra aggressive.
You see what Patrick Ewing can do on the defensive end. He's been tough on the offensive end, and again, full court pressure this time by the Knicks. Another turnover. Good hustle, Trent Tucker. Here comes Johnny Newman. Sidney Green on the offensive boards.
If you're not careful, Gary, this press can take you right out of the ball game early. The Knicks very active early in this ball game. Last time we were here, they didn't seem to be as active. Maybe it's going after that streak tonight.
Well, that time, Sidney Green got called for the foul, and the Hornets came out okay. Also, the Knicks just may be playing better than they were when we saw them last. Charles Oakley there.
I don't think there's any question they're playing as good as anybody in the NBA right now.
Good look by Earl Curitan. Ewing almost had one of those blocked shots, but wound up with a foul instead.
We're used to seeing Patrick Ewing on the backside of that press, or on the half-court defense. You're used to seeing him in the back because he's got tremendous shot-blocking abilities.
That was the third team foul on the Knicks, the first on Patrick.
What they did last time down the floor after they converted a basket, they put Ewing on the passer. Let's see if they do that again. The man passing the ball inbounds, which was different from when they usually played all the way back guarding their basket.
Kurt Rambis has been the heart and soul of this team, along with Earl Curitan of late.
Rambis, one of those guys who does all the little things and the dirty things that a lot of guys don't like to do when they get to the NBA.
It's a 9-point New York lead, 16-7, 8 minutes to go first quarter. Trent Tucker followed up his shot and had it off the leg of Kurt Rambis, and that's just pure good basketball to follow your own missile.
Shoot and follow. That time Rex Chapman lost track of Tucker.
If you're joining us just now, it has been Knickerbocker pressure that's made the difference, and a play there where Mark Jackson just got away.
Posted up. The Hornets not inbounding the ball quick enough. You have to grab that ball quickly, which Kurt did, but a couple of the Hornets left him standing under the basket, ran away from him, Gary.
And
he had nobody to pass to.
Right after that, a 5-second violation against the Hornets. The Knicks get it right back. Very dangerous situation here for the Hornets as Robert Reed and Tim Kempton come in, and Rex Chapman and Earl Curitan come out. What goes through a player's mind when you were beaten badly the night before and get off to this kind of a start?
You have to come out motivated to try to change or better yourself from the previous night. In the NBA, you can't accept one game being the same as the next. You have a chance to change it from game to game.
Ewing missed it. Here comes Holton. Kempton. And Kempton tapped it in a third try.
The presence of Patrick Ewing made Timmy Kempton change his shot up the first time, but credit him for hanging around. Good weak side rebounding, resulting in a basket.
You see the turnovers. That has been the story. They haven't been unforced errors, though. It's been pressure by the Knicks.
Relentless pressure.
And just a turnover on Patrick. And on his home court, Patrick just says, hey, don't I get all the calls?
Again now, Sidney Green taking the ball out of bounds, moving Patrick Ewing back to a goalkeeper's type position like a hockey goalie.
Michael Holton found Rambis.
That's where the weakness of the press is, Gary. If you're not going to attack the basket, you will find that baseline man open for the jumper. It's a tough shot to hit, but he will be open.
No part of this telecast may be rebroadcast, used, or re-edited without the written consent of WCCB-TV, and the announcers are employed by WCCB-TV. Sidney Green. And Robert Reed stuck his hand in the cookie jar just a little bit inside the lid, but got called, I think.
No, I think the underneath referee found Timmy wrestling inside with Patrick Ewing. He's got to muscle Patrick. Don't give him the position. So Timmy basically was no position to do anything but foul.
Third Hornets foul, Sidney Green.
Sidney Green. Next lane, 28-11.
Kempton having to handle the ball to beat the pressure.
When you bring that ball down the middle against that pressure, be careful the Knicks can backslap, come from behind, pick the ball away.
And a traveling violation, and the Hornets were really, if you can use the word, discombobulated throughout that entire possession by the pressure.
Well, you look at this lineup, really only one true guard, Michael Holton, Kelly, and Robert. Really, 3 players are small forwards along with Kurt and Timmy. So ball handling wise, this group is really at a disadvantage against that pressure.
Patrick again. Boy, when Patrick hits the fadeaway, you got a problem.
He is so confident offensively now. He really has those offensive skills down.
Knicks just swarming all over the Hornets. Another turnover. Sidney Green on the slam, and the Knicks have a 13-point lead, 24-11. Reed can't hit. Ewing on the boards.
That's what Dick Harder wanted to do. Get the ball down quickly, beat the Knicks back down. That's the first time the Hornets really have been able to do it. They've been really slow getting the ball inbounds, no matter who's been in the ball game. Here's the loose ball. Ever scrambling and hustling Knicks.
Foul was on Kurt Rambis, his first, the 4th on the Hornets with 5:39 to go first quarter, and you see that the points off turnover is not as bad as it could be. But a shot there by Johnny Newman.
Newman's the guy, excuse me, Gary, Newman's the guy that's now getting hot again. It's been cold the last couple of weeks.
And that was Johnny Newman on the blocked shot as well. Mark Jackson. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Jackson found Oakley wide open, and he's shown with New York this year that he can hit that shot.
And he just lays out there because when Jackson gets the ball into the paint, the defense has to honor him and collapse on him, and he's so good at finding the open man.
17-point Knick lead. Tripucka, and as you said, that's the key to it, beating that press down.
Get it in quickly. Now you're trying to throw the ball over the top. I'm sure that's what Dick Harder wanted to see when he brought this particular group of 5 players in. Last 2 times it's been effective.
Gerald Wilkins, number 21 in the game for New York. Here's Mark Jackson. And Jackson just inside the 3-point line makes it 30-13 with 4.5 to go in the first quarter. And one of the real problems here, the number of points the Knicks are putting on the board this early.
Tell you, when they get up and they get on a roll, their confidence shooting-wise just goes crazy.
Kempton missed the finger roll and then fouled Patrick Ewing trying to get it back.
To me, maybe that time would have been better off to shoot that shot just as he went into the paint. Right about there, just pull up and take the jumper. With Ewing back there, it's always in your mind where he's at and if he's got a shot, a chance to block your shot, Gary.
To make matters worse, that was the 5th team foul against the Hornets, and so the Knicks, with 4:16 remaining in the first quarter and a 17-point lead, are going to be shooting all fouls from here on in the quarter, other than the offensive variety.
Awful early in the first quarter to be spending a lot of time at the foul line.
And Patrick Ewing has learned how to hit from there as well. He's a 75% free throw shooter. 31-13. And the lead is up to 19. Kenny Walker, number 7 in the ball game for the Knicks. Knock away by Strickland. And they're going to call a foul. Let's see.
That's his 3rd personal foul. 3 on Kempton.
3rd personal foul on Timmy Kempton. Let's pause 10 seconds for our local stations to identify themselves. This is the Charlotte Hornets Television Network.
This is the home of the Hornets, WCCB TV 18 Charlotte, flagship station of the NBA's largest television network.
Eddie Lee Wilkins from Gardner Webb, North Carolina, Boiling Springs, North Carolina to be precise, is in the ball game for New York, wearing number 45. Rod Strickland hits a couple of free throws, and here comes that pressure.
Good job that time. Kempton looked up the floor quickly, found Rambis.
Kempton to Chapman. And you know, I think partially what happens is against this pressure is you get into their tempo and start to rush your shots, and they don't go in as often.
That's part of that pressure philosophy. It stretches the other team's offense, makes them shoot some shots they really don't want to take. You're right.
Down to 3:48 to go first quarter. The Knicks have a 21-point lead. Rambis got a hand on it. And Oakley hits again, and the Knicks are hitting on all cylinders.
Charles Oakley showing you some range.
And the Knicks lead 36-13.
23-point Knicks advantage. Rambis is wide open.
That's the shot, the baseline jumper that will be available to you against that pressure.
Turnover, New York. Robert Reed leading the break. Good job, Roberts. Excellent job of leading the break. Gave it up at just the right time to Michael Holton filling the lane.
Robert realized he had the numbers 3-on-1. Count the shirts. 3 teal shirts. 1 Nick back. Kenny Walker. Michael Holton. A good job of protecting the ball. Did not go ball first, Gary. He dips under Kenny Walker. Brings the ball away from Kenny Walker. Doesn't get it blocked. Good job that time.
First foul on Kenny Walker, the 4th on New York. Holton completes the 3-point play. And it's 36-16.
Now with Ewing out, look for the Hornets to attack that basket just like they did last time down the floor.
Lest you be thinking it's definitely going to be a long night. It certainly looks that way early as the Knicks turn it over, but coaches will tell you, and anybody who's been around the NBA for a while, the 20 points in the NBA is not like 20 points in college basketball. You come back from 20 points when it's this early.
No doubt about that, particularly with the Knicks, the way they play the offense. It's going to be upbeat. If you get in that upbeat offense and score, you can get back into the ballgame.
There's a good start. Kurt Rambis scores.
Knicks lead 36-18.
36-18 the Knicks, and Rambis has 5 points. Down to 2:36 in the first quarter. Oakley's been hot. Reed does the tippy toe on the baseline, and it's Hornet ball.
Knicks now a little cold. The Hornets scoring the last couple times down the floor.
13 on the shot clock.
You want to try to make the Knicks play defense.
Not a good foul.
They really don't like to spend a lot of time at the defensive end. It's not that they're not good, but they want to get the ball and run right back up the floor and score, Gary.
Kenny Walker committed his 2nd foul, and the Knicks go over the limit. We'll be back. Look at the field goal percentage. The Knicks obviously shooting much better. They've gotten much better shots because of the transition game. If you haven't heard, the Celtics traded Danny Ainge to the Sacramento Kings along with Brad Lohaus, and they got Villanova's Ed Pinckney and Arkansas product Joe Klein, a couple of big guys. And Mike and I will talk more about that, as Mike said, at the intermission. Robert Reed gets the Hornets back within 17.
With this group of Knicks on the floor right now, with Ewing down, they're still going to press. They're going to push the ball. But the Hornets, on the other hand, want to try to make them play defense. Try to take it inside, see what they can do. Might be a good shot to get back into the ball game. Hornets
have sliced 7 points off this lead. 36-20. Remember, they were down by 23. So they made a nice move here in the last few minutes. Johnny Newman. Gerald Wilkins. Reed. And here comes Chapman. And we talked about the perimeter shooting, and there's Robert Reed with his 4th point of the night.
What led to that shot, which the Hornets have to knock down, was very good passing. Good ball movement. Found Robert Reed, who was open.
How about the composure of this Hornet team in the first quarter? Down 23. They're now within 14. Gerald Wilkins.
Gary, I think that shows that's a good blend of veterans and young players. The veterans leading the young players through some tough times because they've been there. And I think that's what's really given the Hornets that ability to bounce back throughout the year so far.
Timmy Kempton off a nice pass from Rambis. Eddie Lee Wilkins will get the foul, and a 3-point play opportunity upcoming for Timmy.
Eddie Lee Wilkins tries to move over. Kempton, as big as Eddie Lee, takes it right at the basket. Wilkins a little slow getting over, but 2 big guys going at it right at the hoop, Gary.
Kempton looking for point number 5, and the lead is still 14. And look at the play by Rambis. Took it right out of the hands of Oakley. Good job by Michael Holton to get his hand away, and it still will be Hornet ball.
We mentioned the little things that Kurt Rambis does. Right there on the missed shot, he came from behind on Oakley, very alertly deflected the ball. Hornets get another crack at it. The little things that Kurt Rambis does.
38-24. Kurt Rambis really upset. He wants more room than Charles Oakley is giving him, and Tommy Nunez looking at Oakley and Rambis, and here's Oakley putting on the pressure. Michael Holton. Gerald Wilkins. Tough assignment for Rex Chapman. The help defense by Rambis, and Rex comes away with it. Great pass. Chapman to Reed. The foul on Gerald Wilkins.
Hornets handled that break very well. A 3-on-2 situation. It's very easy to mess it up. Gerald Wilkins goes to the hole. Eddie Lee Wilkins gets a shot to rebound. The ball is up for grabs. The Hornets come out with it. Chapman takes it. He makes a very good decision. It's 3-on-2. Nice job by Robert Reed getting out to be available for that pass, and good decision by Rex Chapman.
I believe if Chapman wanted to be, and I think he'd rather have him at the 2 guard, but if he wanted to be, and if he put his mind to it, and if a coach wanted him to be, he could be a great point guard.
I think over time we'll see him play more and more of the point guard. Dick Harder's got an awful lot of confidence in Rex Chapman and really has been pleased with his development. Dick's real high on this young man, and for plays just like we saw.
That 23-point lead is down to 12 with 41 seconds left in the first quarter. Eddie Lee Wilkins. Kempton blocked it. Too many chances, and Charles Oakley finally converted.
Charles Oakley, Eddie Lee Wilkins, big guys inside. They really pound those boards, both of them. Oakley finally gets it to drop.
4 points for Charles Oakley. 40-26. We're down to 10 seconds to go in the first quarter. 2-second differential on the shot clock. Robert Reed with a good shot.
That was a well-run play. Chapman looked like maybe the first option. Reed kept running the offense. He was wide open. Good execution.
8 points for Robert Reed. 4 seconds left in the quarter. And I mean to tell you, an outstanding exhibition of composure by the Hornets. The Knicks put on relentless pressure. They opened up a 23-point lead, and before the quarter was over, the Hornets were right back in it, down by 12 with 3 quarters to play. Scorers Ewing and Reed, but the Hornets kept their composure.
Tyrone Bogues in for the Hornets. Really, I think the second time out that Dick Harder called, he seemed to make a couple adjustments against that pressure. First time out of the shoot, it didn't work. From then on, the adjustments Dick made really worked well against that pressure the Knicks applied.
See how they call this one. Are they going to get Robert Reed on the push? They do.
Followed by Robert Reed.
It was a pick and roll play that I thought the Hornets defended rather well, but Robert got called on the foul.
There was good rotation away from the ball. Robert was just back down and got caught at the block.
First on Robert, first on the team in the second quarter. Johnny Newman to Patrick. Ewing just lost it on the way up. And Johnny Newman giving the Hornets trouble in a number of different ways in the first half.
Newman, a thin-looking guy, but I tell you what, not only can he shoot, and he will shoot the three-pointer, he gets a lot of rebounds. A quick jumper, has a good nose for the ball, Gary.
9 points for Johnny Newman. Robert Reed and Ewing on the boards. Rambis fighting hard, but tough to get it away from Ewing when he's in position. And Gerald Wilkins scores at the other end.
Gerald Wilkins very effective slashing to the basket with or without the ball.
Now Muggsy's got to beat the 10-second clock. Good job by Kempton to come back and get the ball.
Heads up play.
Reed tries again and hits.
Robert had the one before that one go almost all the way down, Gary, and flip out on him. So he's come off the bench firing and hitting. 10
points for Robert Reed. Muggsy will give Mark Jackson all he wants and almost have the steal there.
The pressure Muggsy applies might throw Jackson and the Knicks a little bit out of their offense.
We're down to 10 seconds on the shot clock. And away from the ball, as Dave Hoppin comes in, we get the foul call. Dick Harder wants a timeout. Rick Pitino was calling for an illegal defense, I thought, and now they've called the technical foul on Dick Harder.
Gary, I'll tell you what, Dick was not excited at all. Had moved over to in front of the scorer's table. Was talking very calmly to the referee that time. Well, that was a quick tee.
Well, you know what they did? Rick Pitino called for the illegal defense, and they gave it to him.
Right in front of his bench. He was up trying to make the call, but Dick was really under control in front of the scorer's desk across away from us.
He was just trying to call timeout. But I think the judgment was that he had come too far from his own bench. That's the only way. That's the only thing they could say, because he certainly didn't say anything. We could hear what he was saying.
I think the ref was just a little trigger happy on that one, because it wasn't that Dick said things that looked to be out of nature there. And he had a complaint, I think, maybe. Pitino did make that call.
Nonetheless, it's not. Yeah, I was just going to say, it's nice when in your own building you can say that's an illegal defense, and 1 moment later get the call. Let's give our local stations a chance to take a break. Charles Oakley did not hit the technical foul, and so it's going to be New York ball. 10:16 to go first half, 44-30. The Knicks on top of the Hornets. Mark Jackson.
Motion, reverse.
Knicks have had the better of it on the boards, and Gerald Wilkins hits from the outside. 46-30, the Knicks by 16, and Wilkins has 6 points.
Wilkins, one of the guys who are known as the bomb squad. They've taken 725 three-point shots this year, Gary.
Robert Reed, who had been hot, does not hit that one. Good lead pass from Oakley to Gerald Wilkins. So many of these Knicks do so many different things well.
They really recognize the fact that they have a chance for a quick break. Their heads are up, their eyes are up, they're up the floor with the ball so quick. And it's all because they realize those situations.
Chapman can't get it. Can Rambis? No. Wilkins comes away. It's an 18-point New York lead. Ewing's finger roll wouldn't go. Chapman's got it. Right around Mark Jackson, but blocked by Johnny Newman. Rambis's follow will count. Yes, and a foul.
The Hornets now into a Knick-type tempo of a game. The Knicks are running, the Hornets are running. I don't think Rex realizes that Newman was moving over like that. And again, what makes Newman such an effective rebounder is he's an awful good jumper, Gary. He moves over. I don't think Rex knows he's there. Thankfully, Kurt Rambis doing all of the dirty work. Good weak side rebound.
Rambis looking for his 8th point. And we've got a lane violation against Patrick Ewing, and so Rambis will get another try.
Gary, another key to the Knicks break is how quick their big guys run. All of their big guys. You go to the bench with Green and Walker and Eddie Lee Wilkins. They all run well for guys their size.
The lead is 15 for New York. 9:07 to go first half. At the conclusion of the game, we'll pick the Hardy's player of the game. Sidney Green missed the hook shot. Boy, the Knicks really looking for each other so well in this game. Patrick took an extra step.
Looked a little odd from our angle.
Well, we're going to get our first look at Brian Rowsom, and there he is from University of North Carolina, Wilmington, and from tiny Columbia, North Carolina. I'm sure they're very proud there. Played well in 11 minutes of action last night. Rowsom with the ball.
Ewing guarding Rowsom.
Tripucka couldn't hit. Going to be Hornets ball.
Here, there was an example. The rebound, once the Knicks got the rebound, up the floor they looked, and there was the open man. They're so quick to realize those situations.
8:23 to go, first half. Knicks by 15. Off the ball contact. And while we check out who the foul is on, let's hear from Brian Rowsom on how he feels about returning to the Hornets lineup.
I know it's going to take me some time to get acclimated to being back on the floor in game conditions, but I think that I can provide some good rebound and inside play. I think Kurt's, he's getting older, Earl's getting older, and I feel like if I can establish myself now, I could be a part of the future here. I'd like to be here, as long as possible.
That's Brian Rowsom. The foul was on Johnny Newman. Second on the Knicks in the period. Reed can't hit. Sidney Green on the rebound. Also Newman's second personal foul. Can't leave Trent Tucker alone from three-point territory. He's the best all time in the NBA percentage-wise.
They really love that three-pointer, and they're not afraid to raise up at any point in the ball game. Brian Rowsom's development will really depend a lot on how quick he can get his game legs, Gary.
Penetration by Muggsy, three-point play opportunity for Dave Hoppen. I'm not sure they shouldn't give Muggsy a point and a half on that one. I guess an assist will do.
Muggsy has the ability when he goes down the pike to not only find the open man, but complete the pass. Some guys can see the open man, but can't get it there. Muggsy can.
And you saw Hoppen immediately look for Muggsy to credit him for that great assist.
I think as a player, you'd have to love to play with a guy like Muggsy Bogues, because when he has the ball, he sees the floor so well. If you can get open, he usually finds you.
51-36, Knicks by 15, 7:23 to go, first half. Trent Tucker doing something you don't often see him do, drive to the basket.
That's right, you usually see him pull up and let it fire from the three-point line.
5 points for Tucker. Knicks going for their record-tying 20th in a row at home.
You notice how Jackson backed off Muggsy Bogues that time to keep him from penetrating, Gary.
Traveling violation on Kelly Tripucka.
Kelly off to a slow start tonight. Really has struggled with this pressure defense of the Knicks. Hasn't gotten into his shooting rhythm yet.
Sidney Green makes a move on Rowsom, and Hoppen came over to help out. Came darn near to a blocked shot. Got the foul, though. First on Hoppen.
When the penetration takes place, you look for the other defenders on the team to move over. Dave Hoppen did a good job that time.
One thing the Hornets coaches are happy about is that Hoppen has become more aggressive of late. And they would like him, I think, to carry it even a bit further.
When you play inside, you have to be able to put or lean on somebody, Gary, to have a physical presence in there. If Dave Hoppen develops that, it's going to be nothing but a plus for the Hornets.
Rod Strickland reports on. Really got to give Al Bianchi, the general manager of this team, a lot of credit. Late round draft choices in the first round, Mark Jackson and Rod Strickland have turned out to be excellent picks.
And both of them happen to be from this city.
Which doesn't hurt.
Which doesn't hurt at all.
Reed with a good look to Hoppen, who couldn't finish the play, and it's a 19-point New York lead.
Nice pass, but you have to get those to go down.
Rod Strickland on the pass to Patrick Ewing.
Ewing left from outside of the 3-second lane, Gary, and carried himself on in for the dunk.
13 for Ewing. 6:19 to go first half. Knicks have rebuilt a 21-point lead. Hoppen couldn't handle Muggsy's pass. Here's Mark Jackson.
The Knicks are one of those teams that on the fast break they'll look to throw it out for a jump shot.
Still going to be New York ball.
Watch where Ewing leaves from. You don't even see him. He's out of our picture. He's out of the 3-second lane. Now think about that. Go stand on a basketball court sometime, Gary, and see how far you have to jump to get to the hoop from there.
Strickland couldn't hit it. Brian Rowsom on the boards. Under 6 minutes first half. Knicks by 21. They led by 23. Hornets cut it to 13, and Trent Tucker pushed Kelly Tripucka and gets called for the foul.
Kelly trying to use that pick. Dave Hoppen was setting the pick. Tucker got caught. When he got caught, he fouled.
You see that Del Curry will be making an appearance. 5:51 to go first half. The Knicks 57, the Hornets 36. Ashbrook High School versus Hunter Huss High School. Big rivalry tip-off at 4:45. Gaston County Night, sponsored by the Gaston Observer, part of the Charlotte Observer. Brian Rowsom. Another inside force for the Hornets, something the team badly needed.
Nice job that time by Brian. When he went into the paint, two Knicks moved over on him. He didn't shuffle his feet.
The lead is 19. Ewing just used his size that time over Hoppen.
Trading baskets inside. Rowsom at one end, Ewing at the other.
5:17 to go first half. The Garden all a buzz tonight about the trade that did come through. Kiki Vandeweghe coming here from Portland. Ewing block shot on Rowsom.
How quick Patrick Ewing gets there.
Ewing, fortunately for the Hornets, though, could not convert at the other end, and here comes Muggsy Bogues. Rowsom couldn't get that one. And the foul's going to be on Dave Hoppen. We started to tell you about the trade. Kiki Van de Wee for a #1 draft choice. Van de Wee, the shooter, the small forward, will come to Madison Square Garden.
Just what the Knicks need, huh, Gary? Another shooter. They got a team full of them.
Let's hope he doesn't show up before this one's over. All those home games we're telling you about that are coming up, at least the next few, we won't have them on TV for you except for the Laker game, and you can hear them on WBT Radio, Steve Martin and Gil McGregor, and all across the Charlotte Hornets radio network.
Rowsom that time. Brian Rowsom did an excellent job. The shot went up. He pinned Sidney Green on the weak side. Green was blocked out so well that he decided to push Brian.
So we'll get a look at Brian Rowsom from the foul line. Well, Brian's put on some weight, and he's put it on in the right way. We're talking muscle, not flab.
Be interesting to sit down and talk with Brian. He's had a chance to observe a lot this year, and there's a lot to be learned from that. I think he made the comment to Coach Dick Harder about that he felt that he understood what was wanted from him by the coaching staff better now than he did when he first started. Very, very confident that he can help this ball club.
Oakley in, Green out for the Knicks. Funny you should mention that because we have sat down and talked with him, and that's coming up at part of our halftime tonight. As you knew. Mark Jackson with it. The Knick lead is 20 with 4:31 to go in the first half. Nothing called. Hornets come away. Nice fast break, but Del Curry couldn't hit the layup. Curry had it swatted away by Ewing. Hoppen could not hit it after Rowsom kept it alive. Now here's Strickland, fouled by Tripucka.
Right in the middle of all that battling for an offensive rebound was Brian Rowsom. What I like about the things Brian can do, Gary, is that he will go in much like Kurt Rambis and do some of the dirty work. He does get it sent back by the big guy Ewing, but here he comes back at it again. This is only a second ball game. He does not lack the mental ability to go to that hoop and go hard. I think the kid is going to get an awful lot of playing time.
I agree with you, but Hoppen's got to go up stronger in that situation. Cannot fall away from the basket.
No question about it. Against a big guy like Patrick Ewing, you go right at his chin and his nose. You don't fade away from it.
You'll get the foul most of the time. 22-point lead. Curry gets it back to 20.
That's what Del Curry does the best. He can use a pick, and when he uses it well, he's wide open. He can bury it.
Mark Jackson buries a three-pointer, and the Knicks are back up by 23. That ties their biggest advantage of the game.
You've got to go out on the floor as far as you can, extend your defense, and pick up the shooters for the Knicks.
Patrick Ewing off the turnover. Well, the Garden is rocking now, as Patrick did it all on that play. 25-point New York lead.
Lazy passes. You have to meet your passes against this pressure of the Knicks. You can't stand and wait for the ball. You got to meet the pass.
Well, Muggsy created another play for the Hornets, and Tripucka will be going to the line. And the big hand there is for Greg Butler, who is a crowd favorite here in New York. Big guy from Stanford, number 54.
He's in early tonight. Usually he gets in late in the fourth quarter.
It's been like a tradition here in New York over the years. They've always taken on as one of their own the 11th or 12th man and given him the big ovation when he comes on. And Butler is the adopted son this year of the Garden crowd. Kelly Tripucka has 7 points, and the lead is 66-42 with 3:06 to go first half. At the conclusion of our game, we'll select a Budweiser play of the game. Jackson misses. Hoppen with a good outlet pass to Del Curry.
Well, Curry was wide open. As soon as that shot went up, he released, and Hoppen did have his head up, saw him. Nice pass.
Knicks by 22, 2:44 to go first half. And the Hornets, incredibly, doing better than the Knicks off turnovers. That's astounding, considering the Knicks' pressure.
Boy, it certainly is. The Knicks very successful with that full court pressure, picking up the loose ball and converting.
Hornets ball after the foul. 66-44.
Foul was on Butler instead of moving pick on Kelly Tripucka that time.
Tripucka to the basket. And I think they got Butler. Let's see.
Very obvious with Patrick Ewing or some of the other better jumpers on the Knicks team. The Hornets decided to take the ball into the hoop. Really, as far as shot blockers goes, only Oakley back there right now. Butler really not a threat to block a shot.
Knicks are over the foul limit. Kelly Tripucka on the line. Kelly, of course, the superb free throw shooter, 86.4% his current rate of success.
The Knicks will probably become a perimeter team right now with Ewing out inside or maybe a little post up on both.
Rod Strickland scores for New York, and the Knicks are back up by 23. That time Strickland got the foul, bodying Muggsy.
The Knicks, a very confident team offensively, Gary. To show you what that means is they get into their offense so quickly. They get the ball to the open man so quickly, and that's even given a lot of substitutions during this ball game. They never break stride. They're just like a machine going down the road.
I think it'd be fair to say they have gelled.
No, I don't think.
And I don't think that was true. I don't think that was true the other times we saw them.
A little over a month ago, we were in here. They weren't as impressive. You're right. Right now, they are a well-oiled machine.
21-point Knick lead. Last 2 minutes of the first half now. Trent Tucker from three. Hornets get a break when he misses a wide open one from there. Tripucka and the Hornets beat the defense down.
Good look by Muggsy Bogues. Through all the defenders, wide open to Tripucka.
Tucker had the ball rebounded by Oakley, and he was fouled by Brian Rowsom.
Again, the Knicks relentlessly attack you when they have the ball. Makes no difference whether Patrick Ewing, Mark Jackson's in there, or whoever. They just keep coming at you.
First foul on Rowsom. Both teams over the limit now, and Oakley on the line. 78% free throw shooter. Charles Oakley, since coming over from Chicago, has shown that he can do a lot of things. In Chicago, he was the rebounder deluxe to get the ball to Michael, but here he does just about everything.
This style of play, this upbeat, up-tempo type game has really benefited Charles Oakley. He's shown us a jump shot tonight. He runs very, very well for a big guy, and you know he pounds the boards.
And a lot of people in the CIAA proud of him out of Virginia Union. Muggsy Bogues, he just lost Strickland.
Strickland didn't play him too smart. I wouldn't run at Muggsy out there on the perimeter because he'll blow right by you, and that's exactly what he did.
4 points for Muggsy, 1:22 to go first half. Knicks by 19. Tucker, whoa, that was about 3.5 point range at least.
Oh, Tucker's fun to watch. He's got no conscience when he shoots that ball.
It'd be more fun if he was playing the Lakers.
It'd be more fun if he's playing for us.
And he'd play that's right.
Knicks lead 73-53.
Meanwhile, Rowsom scores, and back come the Knicks. That would have been for 4 points, maybe. Oakley, what a pass! The Knicks are putting on a show.
Charles Oakley, he's done it all tonight. What a player, huh?
Muggsy trying to keep the handle. Rowsom lost it. Here they come again. Oh, now it's showtime. Wait a minute, folks. Too much mustard on the hot dog now.
Jackson a little carried away.
Rowsom.
Curry showing the fans that he can pass the ball also.
75-55.
And that was 2 points the Knicks really deserved to give up. They were going into a globetrotter act. We're down to 15 seconds to go in the first half. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Greg Butler. Strickland tapped it in. Somebody should have blocked him off.
Took advantage of his size, advantage over Muggsy Bogues.
Well, that's a good point. Rowsom at the buzzer. How about Brian Rowsom?
Well, Rowsom says that he can also make a spectacular play. Second ball game of this new year for him. and he banks it in. How about this for Brian Rowsom?
This has become a Hornets specialty. Michael Holton did it at the end of the third quarter in Miami.
Michael Holton does it almost on the same spot, the same side of the floor. But Rowsom at 6'8", 6'9", what kind of range for a big guy has he got?
Well, it's halftime. The Knicks lead at 77-58. We'll take a local break and come back with more on the Charlotte Hornets Network. A real strong first half performance for the New York Knicks. They lead the Hornets by the score of 77-58. But right at the end of the first half, you saw that outstanding three-point bank shot. Little luck maybe, but nonetheless an outstanding shot by Brian Rowsom. Great to have Brian back from his injury on the team. And let's take an up-close and personal look at the Charlotte Hornets' return, Brian Rowsom.
I came from a pretty, well-to-do family, and coming from a really small town, we didn't have a lot of places to maybe go and play basketball and baseball and things like that. And I used to have a basketball goal in my backyard, and it seemed like all the kids would come over there and play with me, after school. So I had a lot of friends. In fact, I still, keep in touch with a lot of people from home. But I think I was really close, though, to my family. They have been successful people throughout their lives, and they, they expect a lot from me.
A small-town high school basketball star, making that transition to being a college basketball player, not only from a basketball standpoint, but socially.
And it took me a little while to get adjusted, but I began to meet people and different friends and everything, and so we sort of hung out together, and by playing basketball, I had my teammates that were there with me constantly, so I devoted a lot of time, with being with them, and then, you had to concentrate on your studies as well, so I was pretty busy, though.
Colonial League had a lot of great players, and one in particular at the time was Navy's David Robinson. Yeah,
we had some battles. I think we played 8 or 9 times during my 3 years that we were in the conference, and we used to go at it. He's a really great player and fine competitor and a great person as well.
Things didn't work out for you at Indiana. Now all of a sudden it's to Europe to play ball, and you're going to play ball in France. What about life in France outside of basketball?
It was a little difficult at first because I didn't speak the language, but I took upon myself to take French lessons, and so I picked up a few things. I wanted to be a part of their culture, while I was there. I wanted to try and learn the language and sort of live the way that they did, just while I was there. And I picked up a lot of things. I learned a lot about France, and I thought it was really a good experience for me.
Brian, how did you feel about now all of a sudden you got a great start to the season, then you get injured, the team goes through immense success with its fans, even though it doesn't show up in the win-loss column. What were your feelings?
I really didn't feel like a part of the team because I wasn't out there, with the players. I wasn't out there absorbing that energy that the fans were giving them, by being on the floor. And I try to remain as optimistic as I can. So I always say to myself that, hey, when I come back, I'm going to make things happen. I'm going to be a part of some wins and everything. And so I just try to get over it that way.
Did you have other interests besides basketball in high school? Did you play other sports?
Yeah, I played football when I was in high school, but I broke my leg my sophomore year, and I was a quarterback at the time, about 6'4", 6'5" at the time, and after I broke my leg, I began to realize that football wasn't for me. And growing up, football was my favorite sport. That's something that, you get a few of the guys with and play a little touch football or something, almost every day. And after I broke my leg, though, my sophomore year, and I began to really grow, I realized that maybe this wasn't the sport for me, so I left it alone after that.
In favor of the Hornets?
Last time the Hornets were in here, they were out-rebounded 64-46, and that's been a key both times.
The Knicks just got so many good shots right in there early in the first half. It is tough when Ewing or Newman, Oakley gets the ball in there, Gary. It's such a high percentage shot for them.
Johnny Newman was fouled.
Foul by
Kelly Tripucka got his second foul as you look at the Knicks' leading scorers in the first half.
Strickland got his off the bench. Rowsom got his off the bench.
Tripucka and Reed with 10 apiece.
Now, if you're Brian Rowsom and this is your second game back off the injury list, your confidence has to be high. Dick Harder's confidence in him has to be high. Now what you have to look for is getting your game legs, your conditioning.
Look out now for the trap by the Knicks. Found the open man. And Rambus on the offensive boards was stripped by Oakley.
Curitin did something right there that I really like to see as a coach. The ball went in from the left-hand side. He pivoted to the other side of the floor, reversing the ball. Michael Holton was wide open. It was away from the pressure. Excellent job. Ball movement by Earl Curitin.
Here's Earl. Chapman got by Tucker, got by Oakley, and got 2 points.
Chapman has to take the ball to the hole like that to have development in his game and his career.
First bucket of the ball game, we're told, by Rex Chapman. Trent Tucker for 3. And it will be Charlotte ball.
The look on Tucker's face is, I can't believe I missed that one, let alone shot an air ball. He was wide open.
You think he'll stop shooting them now?
No way. We'll make a little side bet of a Coke on that one, huh?
No. I'm on your side here. That's okay with Patino, too. That's part of the Knicks game.
Oh, he loves it. He encourages that type of shooting.
Only 7 seconds on the shot clock. And Rambis lost the handle.
Little quick. Not much distance between Holton and Rambis.
Mark Jackson, such a fine point guard. Found Charles Oakley.
And Oakley runs so well for a big man.
81-60. Rex thought about the 3. Goes to the hole.
Ball didn't go in, but that was good shot selection by Chapman that time. He passed on a jump shot from the perimeter, under pressure, takes it to the hoop.
Mark Jackson. Rambis battling Oakley, and Oakley will get the foul. Some other scores from around the NBA this evening. The New Jersey Nets taking advantage of the Clippers, 60-41. Atlanta over Indiana, 48-47, and we will see both New Jersey and Atlanta on the Hornets TV network next week, Thursday and Friday nights. Thursday night in, well, Friday night in Atlanta, Thursday night in New Jersey. There we go. Tripucka missed it. Here comes Mark Jackson.
No numbers here. Jackson smartly pulls the ball out.
Trent Tucker. Chapman respecting that three-point ability. Nice move off the double down.
Patrick Ewing has really refined his offensive moves. That time, pump fake, step through to the basket.
19 for Patrick Ewing. 23-point lead for New York. Tripucka.
Ewing makes him change his shot up, Gary.
About to say, that was as good as a blocked shot, but Kelly went back to the basket and will get a three-point play chance.
There's the veteran experience coming out in Tripucka. He goes down to the paint. Ewing makes him change it up. But what does he do? He hangs around. He doesn't pout or give up. And he ends up scoring 2 points. A scorer's mentality Tripucka has.
Third foul on Johnny Newman, the second on the Knicks here in the third quarter. 9:26 to go in the third. Knicks 83, Hornets 63. Ewing found the open man beautifully. Mark Jackson.
For the Knicks to be successful and Ewing to be a dominant factor, he has to realize when the double team comes, he did that time and found the open man.
11 for Mark Jackson. The lead is 22. And Tripucka beginning to warm to the occasion.
Use that baseline pick, freed himself.
15 for Kelly Tripucka. Patrick finally missed. Charles Oakley though on the boards. Well, they got a lot of weapons.
Oakley relentless when he goes to those boards for that ball. Ewing again realizes he's wide open. There wasn't a double team. Nobody steps in front of Oakley. He's relentless. Knows where the basket's at. Decides to take a trip there. Oakley, very impressive player tonight. Has really touched on all the facets of the game.
It was the first foul on Michael Holton. Both teams have 2 team fouls in the third period, and Oakley, looking for his 11th point, is frustrated.
A guy like Oakley, who was in the shadow of Michael Jordan, where there's a tendency to stand back and watch Michael, as great as he is, comes to the Knicks where he's part of that offense and he's involved, he's running, he's hustling, he's on the boards as usual.
And Oakley gives the Knicks a 21-point lead as he gets his 11th point. Chapman left alone.
Chapman that time using the picks well himself, squared up quickly.
Point number 4 for Rex. Not really a great move by Chapman there because the shot had been blocked and Rex slammed it out of bounds where it might have controlled it.
When Ewing turns into the paint, he's greeted by a couple Hornets. You're right, the ball had no chance of going in. No sense of taking that chance, as you well said, Gary, and never can tell what would happen. Whistle blows, you never know.
Patrick bumps with Earl and scores. And the way Ewing's playing, I don't know how you stop him. He's becoming one of the real dominant centers in NBA history, and I don't think that's an understatement.
Last 4 times down the floor, the Knicks have gone to him. 3, they've converted either through him or on a nice pass from him.
Holton scores 88-69, that same 19-point deficit the Hornets faced at halftime.
Let's make it 4 out of the last 5 times.
Again, those of you who had some video problems during our halftime show, we do want to apologize to you. We think we've got things squared away right now and hope we can bring you a Hornets comeback the rest of the way as you look at Dick Carter. Technical foul.
Illegal defense.
Comes with 7:42 remaining in the third quarter.
When the Knicks have been so successful at going inside to Patrick Ewing, defensively the Hornets had to make an adjustment. They rotated a little too quickly, which showed a flash of maybe a zone. The whistle went. Illegal defense.
Remember, Dick Carter got a technical foul in the first half when an illegal defense was called against the Hornets. Charles Oakley fouled on his way down the lane.
And that's natural when a big guy like Ewing or maybe a Dantley or a Guire who likes to post up, when they get going, you have to make the adjustment and try to double team to throw them out of sync offensively.
Jackson up and under, and then the nice pass, but Curitan blocked the shot by Gerald Wilkins. Rambis rejected Oakley, and Jackson follows it in for New York. What are you going to do?
Back-to-back blocks by the Hornets, not all bad. We don't get many blocks, and we had a back-to-back that time.
22-point New York lead. Tripucka faked out Wilkins, found Rambis, and a steal by Mark Jackson. No-look pass.
The Knicks, a lot of quickness defensively into passing lanes, and away they go on the fast break.
Well, the fans who came to Madison Square Garden tonight have no complaints. The Knicks have put on a show, and they also lead 93-69 with 6:50 to go in the third quarter. The voice of the Charlotte Hornets for his halftime feature on Brian Rowsom. Don't know how much of it you got to see because of our difficulties, but Steve, the usual good job as always. 6:50 to go, third quarter. Hornets down by 24.
Hornets in trouble because Patrick Ewing has been dynamite inside. The Knicks continue to go to him.
Chapman missed the three-pointer, and Rambis on the boards drew the foul.
Followed by Patrick Ewing.
Ewing got caught up underneath the basket that time. I think he felt he was pushed a little bit by Earl Curitan. But with Oakley and Ewing and Curitan and Rambis inside, not much room for anybody. A lot of pushing. 4 very physical players in one small area.
Third foul on Patrick Ewing and the third on the Knicks. I want to amend and get your opinion on something I said earlier. Patrick Ewing, I think, maybe in the process of emerging as one of the all-time dominant centers in the NBA, just at the very beginnings of that stage of his career.
And I think it's fair talk, and this talk is going on, that he be considered for MVP of the NBA this year.
Jackson lost it on the way in. Rex playing wide receiver, tried to lay it off for Curitan. Would he have been better off going up for it?
I think he tried. It looked like the ball slipped out of his hands going forward. He tried to get it and come behind and still lost it again. Never had the handle on the ball from the start.
Good analysis. Gerald Wilkins, Kenny Walker. Walker posting up Tripucka.
Walker just coming off winning the slam dunk contest in the All-Star game 2 weekends ago. Can do that. He can post up in the paint.
court pass taken away by Mark Jackson to Gerald Wilkins.
You just can't make that cross-court pass against the Knicks. They're too quick. They lay back and they hide around the paint and shoot those gaps. Result, easy layups at the other end.
Mark Jackson's an outstanding player. He's also a little bit of a hot dog. A no-look pass when there's nobody back is no big deal. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Charlotte Hornets television network.
This is the home of the Hornets, WCCB TV 18 Charlotte, flagship station of the NBA's largest television network.
You saw the replay of what we were talking about. Jackson knew exactly where his teammate was and just showed the crowd that he could look away and still get it there.
Just practicing
so could my
moves.
partner.
Just practicing moves for later on, huh?
Chapman turns it over. Here come the Knicks. Oakley looked at, good play by Rambis, but they got him on the foul.
But Oakley might have gotten away with a step there as he came down the lane. But here's a guy 6'8", 225, and built like a wall. Filling the lanes. Again, we mentioned it earlier, how well he runs. Filling a lane so that he enables himself to be the third man and a lot of times get an easy basket, Gary.
Second foul on Kurt Rambis. As Oakley hits the free throw, both teams have 3 team fouls with 5:20 remaining in the third quarter. Knicks 98, Hornets 70. And Rambis on the boards. Michael Holton. Rambis with a strong move drew the foul from Kenny Walker.
Walker let Rambis get inside at that block. When you play behind Kurt, he is a veteran who's a very intelligent player. He knows he's in good shape when he can get you on his back at the low post. Walker gives him no pressure, just allows him to walk in there.
The thing you gotta love about Rambis and Tripucka, and maybe I'm forgetting someone else on the team, but those two in particular, they're willing when they have the lane to put the shoulder down and go strong to the hoop.
They understand what the NBA game is all about. The college game, you avoid the contact. In the NBA, you try to draw the contact. Those two veterans understand that very well.
Down to 5 minutes to go, third quarter. Good strip that time by Earl Curitzen, but it will still be New York ball. Boy, Ewing has also learned to lobby for the calls.
I think that means then that he's elevated himself into some form of superstar area here with the referees, Gary.
Yeah, I think that, at least he believes that. And it's probably true, at least here in New York.
I don't think there's any question anywhere in the NBA.
Nice move by Patrick, drew the foul. He's got the fadeaway, the up and under, the drive to the basket. He can pass it off well.
What he's doing now, he's scored so easily inside when he's just used a little pivot going to the hoop. So here he pump fakes, and Earl has to honor it because he scored so well. Then he steps through to the basket. So his earlier basket set that up and allowed him to make that fake successfully.
Third foul on Kurt Rambis. You know, John Thompson took a lot of criticism for not having developed Patrick's offensive game at Georgetown. It's ironic that another Big East coach, Rick Pitino, under his tutelage now, Ewing has become a superb offensive player. And I don't think you can give the credit to Hubie Brown because he tried to make a forward out of the guy.
Well, let's face it, in college, Patrick didn't have a lot of man-to-man defenses thrown at him. He played against zones. Consequently, he was rough offensively. In the NBA, he faces man-to-man every night.
Chapman could not hit. It's going to be New York ball. Gerald Wilkins. Kenny Walker. We both know he's got a lot of talent. If he ever puts it all together, he can be very tough.
Kenny Walker's biggest problem, I think, is that they picked him so high in the first round. If they would have picked him a few notches below, everyone in this town would have said he's a great steal. Lower in the draft. He's carrying the burden of being a very high draft choice.
Del Curry in, Rex Chapman out, and he came with back problems right after he was drafted. And it's a tough town to come to when you have problems, pure and simple.
It's a tough town for top draft choices that don't pan out as the print media and the fans think they should.
4:05 to go, third quarter. Dell for three, wouldn't go, and Patrick on the boards. Jackson, Gerald Wilkins. Holton has Rambis.
Ewing moved out quickly on Rambis that time.
And Michael Holton connects from the outside. Point number 7 for Michael.
The Knicks right back at the Hornets after the made basket, Gary. So quickly they get the ball up the floor.
Foul is on Michael Holton, his second personal foul. The Hornets have now gone over the foul limit. Mark Jackson going to the line. Jackson, of course, played for Lou Carnesecca at St. John's in Jamaica, New York, part of the borough of Queens.
Jackson, a guy who has been involved in some controversy with Rick Pitino, the coach, and Al Bianchi, the GM, over his playing time and the rookie Strickland's playing time. 2 point guards.
Well, we are now 9 minutes past the NBA trade deadline, so unless something we haven't been told about, I'm sure that's not the case because Carl Scheer is here tonight and we talked to him. The Hornets are as they are from here on. And as the rest of the teams in the NBA are, not just for the Hornets.
Everybody stays put, but a lot of activity today. A lot of activity right at the wire.
Great block there by Gerald Wilkins off Curry's attempt.
Tell you what, Jackson, the Hornets came back, filled in all of the lanes, cut Jackson's passing to the left and the right off. Here comes Patrick Ewing as the trailer.
Traveling on Rambis. Does Jackson get paid extra for entertainment value?
I tell you, he should because he's a very entertaining player. But the key to this is the big guy, Patrick Ewing. Everybody else is cut off. Patrick Ewing, the presence of mind to know that Jackson can deliver the pass, is an easy two and a spectacular two.
Jackson, that time, had the ball hit by Robert Reed, and that caused him to travel. And by the way, that time I was not trying to be critical of Mark Jackson. He's a marvelous, marvelous player, and one of the best point guards in the NBA. An outstanding draft choice by Al Bianchi of the New York Knicks. 105-74, Knicks by 31, 2:58 to go third quarter from Madison Square Garden in New York.
Gets fired at Portland. He ends up in New York. Portland gets a probably low draft choice from the Knicks, who have one of the better records in the NBA this year.
Rambis created the turnover, and then Gerald Wilkins was called for the foul.
Followed by Gerald
And talking about the Vandeweghe trade, Gary, where does Kiki Vandeweghe get playing time on a team like the New York Knicks? As well as they're playing right now, how does Rick Pitino, a tough situation for him, break Vandeweghe into this lineup and keep the cohesiveness that they have right now?
Well, I guess that when Johnny Newman, when they want more of an outside player at that 3 position than a slasher, not that Newman can't hit sometimes from the outside, they'd go with Vandeweghe.
Could be a trade that...
oh, you're implying something here, but
no,
the trade deadline's over.
I know it's over, but I'm just saying it could be a trade that could possibly backfire simply because the Knicks are playing so well right now. You may not want to take a chance to mess something up.
Field goal percentage obviously in favor of the Knicks at this point. They've only taken 7 more shots from the Hornets, but so many of them been out of transition. And so many of them by this guy. Here comes Michael Holton.
Rambis takes it right at Ewing. What he should do, he didn't try to clutch it or move it around or fade. He went right at the big guy and was successful.
13 for Kurt Rambis. Dave Hoppin with the unenviable task of playing Ewing, and it didn't work out right.
Ewing, when he gets that ball low, you can tell by looking in at his eyes, he knows exactly what he's going to do. He's just waiting for the defender to commit himself.
26 for Patrick Ewing. Robert Reed.
Knicks lead 107-80.
Knicks trying to run after the made basket, and a 3-pointer for Mark Jackson.
That's where you have to pick up their shooters at midcourt instead of going back to the paint area and working your way out and pick somebody up, Gary. You have to pick them up at midcourt because they will let it fly from anywhere.
18 for Mark Jackson. Reed will try again. And tapped into the basket by Hoppin and Rambis. Who gets it? Hoppin?
Hoppin showed some good hands that time, reached in and flipped it in.
5 points for Dave Hoppen. 1 minute now remaining, third quarter. Ewing.
And he's a master of the usage of the glass, Gary. He gets at the angle on the side, and he just kisses it off that glass so well.
28 for Patrick Ewing. You see the three-point field goals that are a staple of the Knicks game. And off the Holton miss, here they come again. Foul will be on Robert Reed.
So Mark Jackson forced that a little bit that time. It was a 2-on-3, and those usually don't work out. Jackson takes it all the way, but he doesn't have the numbers. Very fortunate here that he got a call that may never have really taken place. Robert not happy with that call.
So Mark Jackson to the lines, got that unusual put the hand in the air and measure where the rim is, but if it works, right?
It's different. And it works.
Yeah.
One more.
In case you're wondering, Jackson hits 74% from the line. You know what I noticed last night about Michael Jordan? Maybe he's been doing this forever and I just didn't notice it before, but last night he took his free throws from about 2-3 feet behind the charity stripe. Has he always done that?
I don't remember him doing that. Has he had problems recently in foul shooting? Maybe he's trying to adjust himself and try a new alignment.
He shot very well from there, but he was about 17 feet out on his free throws last night. At least a good number of them. Hoppen lost the handle. Eddie Lee Wilkins from Gardner-Webb in, and here comes Gerald Wilkins. Eddie Lee. They are not related, of course. Del Curry was fouled by Mark Jackson.
Curry pushed it all the way to the basket that time, trying to take advantage of his size over Mark Jackson. Smart play.
So, Mr. Pratt, we talked about it a little bit at halftime, but you don't think the Boston Celtics might have come away with a little bit of a swipe here, getting a couple of young big men in Joe Klein and Ed Pinckney from Sacramento?
I like Lowhouse. I think he's got a lot of potential. Pinckney, I'm not so sure I've ever been a great fan of his in college or in the pros. So he may be the key guy. But, of course, the real key guy in that whole situation is Larry Bird and how quick he can come back.
I'm not sure the real key guy isn't Red Auerbach. He's made some pretty good deals in the past that didn't look as good when he first made them. 4 seconds left, third quarter. And there's your quarter.
That's the end of the
Well, it was a 19-point New York lead at halftime, and they extended it by 11. 3 quarters complete at Madison Square Garden. 114 for the Knicks, 84 for the Hornets. Back after this look.
Move the puzzle around so it fits better. The puzzle, really, if you look at the records, doesn't fit real well right now for Sacramento or Boston.
Traveling violation on Michael Holton. It will be New York ball.
I think that philosophy might prove true when you talk about Detroit and Dallas also, Gary, making their puzzle fit a little better. Because when you swap Aguirre for Dantley, it's hard to say who got the better of that. But maybe Dantley plays better with Dallas if he shows, and Aguirre might play better with Detroit.
Knicks playing a two-man game. Eddie Lee Wilkins with a baby hook. Sidney Green on the offensive boards. Brian Rowsom almost had a blocked shot, but got a foul for his efforts.
Green, Eddie Lee Wilkins, Kenny Walker, what they bring to this team, the New York Knicks, is aggressive play, hustle, rebounding. Wilkins takes the shot first of all, but look at the position that Green got inside. Those three guys off the bench really bring a lot of aggressive play at both ends of the floor.
Now, I am really in the minority view on the Dantley-Aguirre trade. I think it was a bad trade for both teams. I think Detroit took a terrible chance of messing up championship chemistry, and obviously it's not working out well for Dallas.
I would agree about Detroit's position with you. They had something good going, and just don't know. It's not broke, don't fix it, right?
That's exactly my view of it. Del Curry in a trap, found Holton. Good composure by Del, but the shot wouldn't go down. Hoppen stayed with it, but had it blocked by Sidney Green. And the athletic Gerald Wilkins.
We talked about the aggressive play of Sidney Green. At one end, he stays on the boards offensively. At the other end, he blocks the shot and starts the fast break with the outlet pass.
12 points for Gerald Wilkins. 10:47 to go. Knicks 118, Hornets 84.
Strickland applying a lot of pressure to Michael Holton.
Holton fires. And Sidney Green on the boards.
Not a good shot. A lot of pressure. Didn't get the shoulder square.
Off the ball contact. And let's see what the call will be.
Followed by Dave Hoppin.
Dave Hoppin and Eddie Lee Wilkins were going at it, and Hoppin got called for the foul.
Eddie Lee Wilkins hopping inside at the block. A couple of big guys. Again, small space, two big guys trying to get position. The Knicks looking to go inside to Eddie Lee Wilkins, much like they did to Patrick Ewing so successfully here in this ball game.
Good switch there by Rowsom. Wilkins ended up with the ball. And they got Dave Hoppin again.
Followed by Dave Hoppin. That's his fourth personal foul, 4 on Hoppin.
Fourth personal foul on Hoppin, and in less than 2 minutes, the Hornets have 3 team fouls in the fourth quarter.
I think if I was playing the Knicks and guarding one of those inside players when the ball was swung, I'd go over and stand on those blocks right in the paint there, Gary, and wait for the Knick guy to come to me, because that's where they end up.
Sidney Green missed. You trying to get back into coaching? Three-pointer, Kenny Walker.
If I wasn't 40, I might try to get back into play.
They start the ABA up again. You may get a call. Muggsy Bogues.
The seniors division, huh?
I'd kind of rather keep you here, though. Let's see what the call is here. Illegal defense.
And illegal defense.
And a technical foul assessed because we've gone past the warning stage.
Their second violation.
Second violation against the Knicks.
An automatic technical
So both teams have
foul.
absorbed a technical foul for the illegal
Reed will shoot
defense.
the technical, 1 shot.
Both teams pushing the edge of the envelope defensively when they make their rotations.
Robert Reed connects. You know, for you Hornet fans who are trying to shake off the effects of the loss to Chicago last night of this loss, San Antonio coming into Charlotte, one of 5 teams in the NBA the Hornets could beat out in the standings. And that is not too bad for a first-year team.
San Antonio team high expectations going into the year. Really struggling.
Reed missed. Here come the Knicks. Eddie Lee.
Strickland put the ball on the money. Wilkins right where he had to be.
123-85. Del Curry. Hoppin gave it a good try, but Sidney Green's pass was knocked away by Muggsy Bogues, and a foul is called.
Kenny Walker was releasing for the cheap basket. Muggsy stepped in. Nice steal.
Fourth personal foul on Kenny Walker. Tim Kempton in, Dave Hoppin out. 9:01 left to play. Curry beat Wilkins clean.
Kempton set the pick at the foul line, high post.
Kempton picks up the loose ball. Here come the Hornets. Brian Rowsom to the basket.
Brian on one of those rolls. He stumbled, Gary, and he still got it to go in. When you get it going, there's not much you can't do.
That is 12 points for Brian Rowsom. Eddie Lee Wilkins couldn't hit. Here comes Robert Reed. Muggsy back to Roberts. Not going the Hornets' way right now. And that one a little too tall for Sidney Green. We mentioned that San Antonio game coming up, and that is a ball game that we won't have for you here on Hornets TV, but the Charlotte Hornets radio network will have it. Perhaps Rick Pitino will be listening. Steve Martin and Gil McGregor and the rest of the crew on the Hornets radio network, they can provide the action for you on that one. We'll be back with you next week for action in New Jersey and Atlanta.
For those who just tuned in lately, this up and down, very high tempo game. You might think it's a runaway ball game, and it may be a runaway game, but the Knicks play this way from start, Gary, to finish. This is not the end of the ball game, folks. We have almost 8 minutes to go.
Trent Tucker with it. Strickland missed the shot. Missed the follow, but Sidney Green's there, and there's been much too much of that tonight.
Green, a very active and aggressive player.
Strickland was on the sideline. It's going to be Hornets ball.
You've got a guy, Sidney Green size, hanging around the boards, trying to beat the ball back in. Again, we've said it many times, very active player.
Knicks have been ultra impressive tonight, much more so than the times we saw them earlier in the season as you look at the leading scorers in the ballgame.
Kempton, nice left hand that time. Eddie Lee Wilkins had him pinned in on the baseline, jumped back with the left hand.
Kempton and Eddie Lee Wilkins, neither one of them afraid to mix it up inside. And that time the foul was on Tim Kempton, and that's his 4th personal foul.
Knicks still trying to go back inside to Eddie Lee Wilkins, just like they did with Patrick Ewing, with a lot of success.
Ralph Lewis in the ball game for the first time for the Hornets. Green up and under over Rowsom.
The inside game of the Knicks has been just excellent tonight. They really used the ball well at the block.
Kempton, good hustle. And Kempton scores. His play has been moving back toward the level where it was earlier in the season when he was such a major plus for this ball club. Boy, he is really mixing it up with Eddie Lee Wilkins. I mean, big time. I can't believe they're not calling anything.
It's that time of game when guys get a lot of playing time who normally don't, Gary.
You see Greg Butler about to report on for New York. We'll take a break. 6:24 to go. Knicks 127, Hornets 95. Hopefully given a much better go, and I bet the Hornets will against the New Jersey Nets next Thursday night, 7:30 on the Charlotte Hornets Network.
The Nets, Gary, a team that have won more games already this year than they did last year. Last time we heard tonight, on their way to their 21st win.
That's his 2nd personal foul.
You see the rebounding edge for New York. Crowd just gave Butler an ovation for committing a foul. That's when you're a crowd favorite. Rowsom. Even though it didn't go in, nice that he's got that kind of quickness and ability to get it up like that. Kenny Walker.
Rowsom's shot was not a brick. It was around the rim and came out. Good sign.
At the conclusion of our game, we will pick a Hardy's player of the game. Push on Brian Rowsom, I think.
Followed by Sidney Green.
Sidney Green working against Brian Rowsom. Apologies on that.
Strickland, the guy that they brought in to push maybe. Mark Jackson can run his fast break effectively also.
And Rowsom scoring inside. I believe that's 14. Yes, it is for Brian Rowsom.
Rod Strickland. Isn't it a luxury to have a Strickland and a Mark Jackson at the point, Gary?